Hello, I'm Josh Sonnenberg. I'm the director of Nuts to the Future, Nuts to the Past, and Nuts to the Present, the Nuts to the Future trilogy. And I'm going to answer why nuts right now. Why Nuts to the Future? Well, Nuts to the Future was our first film done in 2010 for the 40-Hour Film Project in Portland. We had other scripts and other concepts in the works at the time, but because of time and some other issues, we went ahead and I chose to do Nuts to the Future. At the time, it was called Nuts to Aliens. What is Nuts to the Future? Well, Nuts to the Future is about a guy named Pete Peterson, an artist, whose roommate is a crazy scientist and makes, I guess, a future pill to see the future in a form of pistachio. That was the prop that year in 2010 was pistachios. So Pete Peterson takes it and has visions of the future. Tries to save a woman who ends up being an alien that is trying to take over the world. There are some interesting
You want to bet, alien?
Get off me!
They're gonna wish you never.
There's a lot of bouncing Bettys. And it's become kind of the inside joke with So Wrong. It's not our favorite film. We make fun of it all the time.
But I'll be honest, there are some funny moments in it.
Whoa, right in the pistachios. Sorry about that, bro.
There are some genuine elements of it that I like, but it's not my favorite film by a long shot.
Tell me more!
Nuts to the Future is unique also for the fact it's one of the last films where I willingly made different edits for the film. True, Chronic Ignorance has two different cuts. One was an acapella, or aka the release cut.
In my pocket, that they'll believe me.
And then also the musical cut, which actually has a soundtrack.
In my pocket, that they'll believe me.
It's a little bit different. It's not the same as what Nuts to the Future went through. Nuts to the Future actually has 5 different cuts. There is the release cut, which is incomplete. We had to submit it. We actually turned it in late, actually. We were the only late film in our screening group. And it had errors in sound.
Poor thing. Are you okay?
The second cut was a director's cut. Actually had some material put in.
Does my savior have a name?
It's Pete Peterson.
A third cut is a director's cut that's in black and white. It's pretty much just a black and white director's cut.
Does my savior have a name?
There's a fourth cut, which I've never seen. It was done by a crew member that needed a project for school, so he asked if he could use Nuts to the Future. So he made a cut for school. And the fifth cut was a digitally remastered black and white director's cut. This is my preferred cut. That's why it's included on the DVD. It's a little bit darker, a little bit more grainier. I like the look of it better.
Thank you for saving me.
My nuts told me you would be here.
Your nuts talk to you?
But as the 40-Hour Film Project progressed with So Wrong, the second year in 2011, I wanted to bring it back, kind of make fun of the first film we did. So I made a Nuts to the Future sequel. And once again, Pete Peterson takes pistachios, but instead of seeing the future, he sees the first film. So it's called Nuts to the Past.
Come on. Can you come up with something better?
2013 was a crazy year for So Wrong for the 40-Hour Film Project. We did 4 to 5 different films.
We did A Crappy Day, Clogged Fury, Chronic Ignorance, and Nuts to the Past, Nuts to the Future 3.
During a whole sequence of like 3 or 4 weeks. So it was crazy, but a lot of fun. And I kind of wanted to wrap up the whole Nuts trilogy with a little bow. Even though I did want to make a 4th film, it was going to be Nuts to the Future remake. Why do a remake for a film that's only 4 years? Well, that was the joke. That's why I wanted to do it.
Yes, the curse has been lifted.
Pete Peterson now is cured of seeing the future, the past. He takes pistachios. He doesn't see anything. But once again, the aliens interfere with his life, just like in the first film.
Right into pistachios.
For Nuts 3, I wanted to go all out, even though it was a shorter film. So I had this plan of building a miniature modeled set. I was working on other projects at the same time. So I wanted to wrap up the film as quickly as possible. Luckily, I still had the cheesy spaceship from the first film, and so I used that instead and just had it fly around. Why make Nuts into a trilogy? For me, it's simple. I was making fun of my first 40-hour film when I made the Nuts trilogy. That unnecessary sequel, that homage to the first film, that Hollywood circle of life.
Because it was kind of like taking what Hollywood does with their films, with prequel, sequel, that kind of circle of life. I want to do the same, kind of making fun of the whole sequel idea and kind of making fun of why make a sequel to a film that doesn't need to have a sequel.
Nuts of the Future has also grown on me. It's burrowed itself into me like a tick, and I just can't remove it. It was a time of change and transition and expanding and endings and beginnings. So why Nuts?
I guess I was just nutty when I made the trilogy. That's why Nuts, I guess. I wanted to make fun of my own work. So be careful when you take those pistachios. You never know if you're going to see the past, future, or present.